Warhammer Vermintide. Is it worth a buy? Let's read the words of the developer. Vermintide is an epic co-op action combat adventure set in the end times of the iconic Warhammer fantasy world. Vermintide takes place in and around Ubershriek, a city overrun by Skaven. You will assume the role of one of 5 heroes, each featuring different playstyles, abilities, gear and personality. Working cooperatively, you must use their individual attributes to survive an apocalyptic invasion from the hordes of relentless rat men known as the Skaven. Make one false move and the toxic community will instigate a vote kicking you from the server. Watch you don't crash as host leader or everybody else's game will be reset and they'll have to start that. Not doesn't say that. Mac. Battles will take place across a range of environments stretching from the top of the Magnus Tower to the bowels of the Under Empire. So this is Left 4 Dead. I mean, this is Vermintide, guys, which is basically Left 4 Dead. It's just totally ripped off Left 4 Dead. It's kind of like, hey, we have another Warhammer IP here, but we don't know what to do with it. We want to make... I know, Left 4 Dead was good. Let's just copy it and show no innovation. Yeah, let's do that and bang a high price tag on. Let's not optimise it. Leave the fucking bugs in it and rake in the money from the pricks who think it's a good... Mac. Sorry. I'm just a bit pissed off with this game. I was a huge fan of Left 4 Dead. Massive fan of Left 4 Dead. I'm always on the lookout for a Left 4 Dead 3, but you know, is it ever going to come? I don't know. I would love to see it, but then I saw this and I thought, hang on, this is Left 4 Dead in a fantasy world. Sounds good. So I picked up a copy and it crashed. I thought, well, you know, it's beta, but it releases in a few days' time, so all these bugs will get fixed. So I just persisted with it, but I am yet, guys, in 2 hours of play, I am yet to actually finish the very first level of this game. Not because the teams that I've been in suck, although one of them really did suck badly. It's because the game crashes. You crash on the loading screen sometimes. You crash halfway through a level. You crash if you need to be rescued. The host could crash, and if the host crashes, everybody gets sent back to the beginning again and it resets the whole level. Unbelievable. I've never been so frustrated in a game for a long time as I have with this. And to add insult to injury, the community is one of the most toxic that I've ever seen. You dare go onto the forums and say this game's crashing all the time. You will just... There is an army of fanboys, the very kind of people that me and Mesh talked about, who are ready to just call you the worst shit under the sun and just lay into you on the forums for daring to suggest that this game has bugs, because according to them the game has no bugs. It's your shitty PC setup. The fact that it works with all your other games is irrelevant. It's unbelievable. Vile scumbags, that's all they are. So there's a big warning if you're going to buy this game. It doesn't work on certain PCs. I'm running a pretty stable rig with Windows 7, well within the requirements of this game, but it just doesn't like my PC setup and a lot of other people's. The forums are full of posts of people who are having the same issues with all different types of processors, and yeah. When it does work, it's a pretty decent game. You pick one of 5 classes, which is a difference from Left 4 Dead, and you have to work your way from point A to point B, doing a couple of little things along the way, as you did in Left 4 Dead. And you gear up your character. You get loot in this, which you didn't get in Left 4 Dead. So if you manage... I've never seen the loot yet because I've never fucking finished a level. But apparently when you reach the end of the level, you get some random loot. Now that's a bit of a shame because you might get something for the wizard when you're playing a melee sort of sword guy, which is useless to you if that's the class that you want to play and level up, because you level up in this game. So the loot is totally RNG'd, which is stupid. Really. I mean, if I'm playing a fucking wizard, I want wizard fucking gear, you know what I'm saying? It's a massive grind, and that's how you play the game. Along the way, you've got your usual first aid kits like you did in Left 4 Dead. You got healing potions, you got kind of potions that make you run faster, and the enemies generally go down with 1 or 2 hits, as they did in Left 4 Dead. There are special enemies though, as they were in Left 4 Dead. Remember the hunter from Left 4 Dead? Well, there's one, he's identical to the hunter. He leaps on you and he starts stabbing you with little daggers, whereas the hunter would just used his hands, but basically you're immobile and you need rescuing when that happens. There's also, remember the jockey? There's also a jockey in this. Remember the jockey who would jump on your back in Left 4 Dead and take control of you? Well, there's a guy in this who does that with a stick. He grabs it like a noose around your neck and pulls you along, and same thing, he'll pull you away to rape your face, and you need rescue. And there's also the big tank. I mean, it's just fucking copied, to be honest, of Left 4 Dead. The thing that they've missed out, which is one of the things that made Left 4 Dead such an amazing game, is the versus mode. There is no versus mode in this. So, yeah, why did they miss that? I don't know why they missed that out, but they missed that out. Another thing worth noting in this are the hitboxes. They're all over the place. I don't know when I'm hitting people. I'm using a sword and shield, and I don't know when I'm actually hitting them. 1 minute I'm having to get right up close, then other times the sword will reach way longer than it should, and I don't get that feel of impact. There's no kind of, I mean, there was me and a dwarf fighting this big thing, and I didn't even know if I was hitting it, but I was, because I could hear the noise of me hitting it. I couldn't really see us doing much to it. It didn't feel, I had to walk away then walk back to say, hang on, am I actually hitting you here? It's awful, the hitboxes. I've killed things that have been out my reach before, and I've missed things that have been in my face. It's a mess, the actual combat. It's awful, to be honest with you, the combat. And the toxic community does not help. I've never been kicked yet, but I've seen a kick vote initiated in the games that I've been in, but I always vote no. No way. No way. Why kick people for learning? I mean, they might not have played Left 4 Dead. Luckily for me, I was pretty good at Left 4 Dead, and I know the rules. You don't leave your teammates, you don't leave the group, or you're going to get killed. It only happened to me once when I was actually leading the team around and they were all following me pretty much, but one of them went off on his own and they went to help him, and I didn't realise, and I thought my mates were behind us, and I turned round, saw that they weren't, and quickly tried to run back, and one of the hunter type things got me, but I got rescued. But yeah, top tip, don't leave your team. And it's like in Left 4 Dead, you leave your team in Left 4 Dead, you're a dead man, you've had it. And it's the same in this. Stick together. But the toxic community doesn't help. They don't give people tips. I mean, I was trying to give guys tips as we were going around, saying, look, you know, you might be new to this type of game, stay together, you know. But the communities are awful. It's fucking awful. One of the worst communities I've ever seen. So the game, it's £22, I think it is, and it's not worth it. Not in its current state. It's just, there's too much wrong. It's not ready for release. There's too much wrong with it. What did they even do in the beta? And do you know what? I read a post by the developers, and they said, yeah, we're working on DLCs. Well, fix your game first. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it looks nice. It runs alright, I mean, when it's not crashing, but I can't recommend it. The fact that it's got 2,338 reviews, most of them positive, doesn't sway me at all. The fact that it won Game of the Year at PAX, Best In-House or something, as far as PC Gamer was concerned, doesn't cut anything with me either. The fact of the matter is, I've played this game for 2 hours and spent most of the time crashing. I never was able to complete the first level. So toxic community, hitboxes that's all over the place, hardly any innovation in the game. The only difference between this and Left 4 Dead, apart from the setting, is the loot system and the classes, and it doesn't even have the versus mode. It's not worth the money at all. If you do want to buy it, well, I can give you 20% off from Green Man Gaming. There's a link in the description and there's a code underneath that link. If you click the link, go to Green Man Gaming, proceed to the checkout, then insert the little code, you'll get 20% off, which will make it a bit more worth it, I guess, but I wouldn't pay full price for this. Not until it's fixed. No way. No way is it worth the £23, so I'd wait, guys. But if you're really looking for a replacement game or a similar themed game to Left 4 Dead, and you're a big Warhammer fan, then I mean, yeah, go and buy it. But for the rest of you, I'd wait till they've at least fixed the bugs, and you'll know whether they're fixed it by going on the forums, because they're just full of complaints. So there you go, guys, that's Warhammer End Times Vermintide. Very disappointed with it, that it's not optimized. It's a good game in the making, but it's just not ready for public consumption yet, unless you're a fanboy, of course.